As we celebrate the growing strength in our advocacy for life, we have peace and certainty that we must do all that is moral, all that is legal to save these unborn children. We know that is true, and we know what is right. And incredibly, for many years, my heart was pro-life. My votes and thoughts were not. Who was I to tell a woman what to do during what is often called a crisis pregnancy? As a teenager, Planned Parenthood visited our high school campus and instilled a mindset that took more than a decade for me to demolish. It wasn't my faith, because sadly, I avoided reading the Bible for so long. It was scientific facts. You all know that science tells us from the moment of conception, a new life comes into being. The complete genetic blueprint is there, the blood type determined, the sex, the unique set of fingerprints all determined. But what kind of life is it? According to the law of biogenesis, all life comes from pre-existing life, and each species reproduces after its own kind. Therefore, human beings can only reproduce human beings. We don't begin as one species and suddenly become human along the way. And I didn't want to be pro-life. It terrified me, so I picked up the phone and I called Planned Parenthood and I said, help me out, give me your best argument for being pro-choice. I was told, if you get it early enough, it's just a bunch of cells, and if you get it early enough, it doesn't even look like a baby. I was like, that's it? That's all you've got? We're all a bunch of cells, and the unborn doesn't look like a baby the same way a child doesn't look like a senior citizen, but that unborn human being looks exactly the way human beings are supposed to look at that stage of life. There are some who say that it's a woman's body, it's her choice. I am someone who always has and always will fight for women's rights, and that's what I love about Susan B. Anthony Association, is that this organization fights for the baby and the mother. When a woman is pregnant, there's a 50% chance the baby she's carrying is a male child. That baby would have a penis. The mother clearly does not. The baby is not a part of her body. The baby resides within her body. This is a human rights crisis. Since becoming pro-life, I've spoken with our nation's leading scientists, pleading with them to please show me some shred of evidence that the unborn is not a human being. That request was met with silence, and then, well, it's very complicated, Kathy. And my response was, the situation surrounding a crisis pregnancy is complicated, and everybody who identifies as pro-life must support the mother in all these areas. But the issue itself is not complicated at all. If the unborn is not a human being, have as many abortions as you want, whenever you want. No justification is necessary. If, however, the unborn is a human being, no justification is adequate unless we are acting to save another life, the life of the mother. In that instance, we're not acting to kill, we're acting to save a life. And the tragic consequence is that the baby dies, but our intent is to save. With abortion, the sole intent is to kill. Whenever people infer that our family supports, in fact, battles for the unborn because our Savior is Jesus Christ, we acknowledge that truth. But you need not share our faith or any at all to realize that abortion is a politically correct marketing term for the pre-planned death of a baby. Most people in our country realize that this is terribly wrong. And while we must never judge a mother who makes such a tragic decision, we must never lie to ourselves by believing that the baby whose life is stolen is the sole victim. The mom, who we now know is frequently diagnosed as a survivor of PTSD. The dad, who has no paternal rights. Our society, which loses the contributions that this child could potentially make. The organization which fights us relentlessly says every child should be wanted. Our response, which is so often unheard and not reported, is that every child is wanted. However, it is not necessarily by the mom who brings that child into the world. When life is destroyed in the womb, the millions of us who love, want, and would save that life have our hearts broken as well. We never have the opportunity to rescue, welcome, and love the escalating millions of babies whose deaths are called and marketed as abortions. Gratefully, there are years where the reported numbers decline. That does nothing to restore the millions of children who have already been taken from all of us. Our son and daughter-in-law, Eric and Bethany Ireland Olson, volunteered to produce a video on a shining rainbow of people who have joined our fight for the unborn. They asked people from all over America and throughout the world, including Pakistan and Israel, to speak with you tonight about their passion for life. Please turn your attentions to the screens so that you may experience the powerful truth and support the diversity that we have and the work for the Susan B. Anthony List.